What's up, everyone, and welcome back to our Clone Wars Chronological Rewatch. Today we're covering the third episode in the Youngling arc, Bound for Rescue. So, Ahsoka was kidnapped at the end of the last episode, and the Younglings are left without any kind of authority figure running around the Crucible, and they have to rescue her.
Yeah. Well, I like how this starts off because they're all kind of meditating and putting their lightsabers together, and we get to see Gungi's lightsaber, which is so cool.
I mean, just the part of this, that beginning part of this episode is so awesome. It's the best visualization of a Jedi creating their lightsaber, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, like in Fallen Order, we see Cal working on his, and it's like basically making his new double-bladed lightsaber, and he's just doing it on a workbench.
Yeah, no fancy floating anything, no meditating. He's just like hammering away.
But I really like seeing, the meditation, all the pieces coming together. Like, so cool.
Yeah. I imagine if I were to build one, it would be like an overcooked when they are chopping.
Yeah, and just like clouds of dust coming out.
Yeah.
I also like that they all just really quickly turn them on. Like, last episode, Hu Yang is like, hey, don't turn that on. It's going to explode and kill you. But he's out of commission, and they're just like, we did it right. And they did, but...
Well, except one of them.
Well, Katuni is afraid to turn hers on.
Oh, yeah.
She's got like this little arc of self-confidence over all 4 episodes, which the Stories of Light and Dark book that came out, which is like retellings of some of these Clone Wars episodes, I wasn't all that into it, but I did really like Katuni's story. Like, it kind of goes through the Youngling arc from her point of view specifically and her inner thoughts, and it's really nice. So if you have that book and you haven't read that story, check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they first contact Obi-Wan, and he says, just sit tight and don't do anything. And I love that they disobey orders and do something, and they're all a bunch of little wannabe Anakins.
Especially that one kid.
Yeah, Petro. They're all like, oh, Obi-Wan said not to do anything? Well, we know what Anakin would do, and off they go.
Well, they also kind of feel like it's what Ahsoka would do, too. Like, if she... I don't know, deep down, like if she knew she really needed to help in some way, she would probably do the same thing.
And they also realize that Obi-Wan has been waylaid by General Grievous. They don't know that, but they're just like, where is everyone? And their ship is forced to land. They bend the rules. They don't straight break them, but
sure.
I mean, it's not the written theme of this episode, but Ahsoka says exactly that. Like, sometimes to do the right thing, you have to bend the rules.
Yeah. So the ship's leaking coolant, so they have to land it on this planet where Hondo and his gang are, and they come across basically a traveling circus.
Yep.
Which is led by a very interesting looking Doug with a giant mustache.
Fantastic mustache.
It's pretty good.
I'm gonna let him in a mustache squadron, I think. I love that he's like, last time we were here, he killed some of us. Let's go back.
Let's go back.
Like, why? And at least Hondo's like, you're very brave to come back here, but what a random thing.
Yeah, and the kids are just like, oh, we're acrobats, and they start doing all these tricks, and I'm like, did they just know that they could do this? Have they done this before? Are they using the Force?
I like to think that they have done stuff like that before. Jedi younglings testing out their powers with each other. Like, it's just how Jedi younglings play, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm not mad that they were just able to do that stuff, but I was like, oh, they can actually do all these acrobatics.
And fun. I love all their costumes, especially Biff. He's got the most form-fitting one, and all the roses.
All the roses, yeah. They're just adorable.
But they do all that to rescue Ahsoka, which basically leads us to the actual written theme of the episode. When we rescue others, we rescue ourselves. Which, the second I read that, I was like, oh, that's super George Lucas, and like, it's almost the epitome of his light side philosophy. I'll try to link it in the description. I've talked about this clip a lot, but it's George talking to the Clone Wars writers' room and basically walking them through all of his thoughts on the Force, and that true happiness comes from helping others, and that whenever you're greedy, when you're hoarding things and you're selfish, that's the dark side, and you never ever like fill that void in your soul. It's ultimately hollow. So the whole selflessness thing, helping others, rescuing others, I was like, yeah, that sounds exactly like something George Lucas wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do. They rescue Ahsoka.
I mean, Hondo's being kind of a jerk. Obviously, he's got Ahsoka being held prisoner, but he gets like super drunk for this circus performance, and he's just having the time of his life.
I love his little, like, he and another Weequay are just pointing at each other. It's so funny. But I do think that all of that is on purpose because we're showing Hondo's selfishness. Like, he won't share water with Ahsoka. He is gluttonous, just drinking and eating, and he's being selfish. And at the end, he winds up sad and alone with that animal, which is kind of, like, sweet.
Yeah.
He's such a weird character in that, like, he's enjoyable. He is terrible. Like, he's a bad guy, but he's fun to watch.
Yeah, like, as I'm going through this rewatch, my just general thoughts on Hondo are getting a little bit muddled because I always thought he was, like, just this lighthearted, kind of silly character, but he does a lot of bad stuff.
Well, they take his edge off a little bit in Rebels, I think. But at that point, he's like lost his crew. He's a different person. He's still out for himself very much, but I do think that they dialed him back for Rebels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to point out that when we rescue others, we rescue ourselves, that we get to see a lot of growth for the younglings as they're rescuing Ahsoka. Like, Biff is one of the most, like, take charge younglings in this one. Like, let's go do this. And he was the scaredy cat in The Gathering. So we've seen that Petro has been this snotty little brat the whole time, but he's actually a good leader in this episode. And it's nice to see that growth. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm loving this arc so far.
Well, we've got one more episode to go, and we will cover it next time. So until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.